Hey everybody, Mark WEISSGUY Weiss here. Thanks for watching and listening to some conversation I had with the Blog of Rock.
Hallo, willkommen bei The Blog of Rock, deinem Hardrock- und Heavy-Metal-Podcast-Musikmagazin. Ich bin Uwe Lerch und ich nehme dich backstage mit zu den Rockstars. Natürlich quatschen wir über die Musik, die uns alle verbindet, über neue Platten, über Livepläne und was früher so war. Aber wir sprechen auch über die Menschen dahinter. Was hat sie inspiriert und motiviert und welche Rockstar-Tipps haben sie für dich da draußen? In den Shownotes, das ist die Beschreibung zu dieser Episode, über die du das hier gerade hörst, findest du einen zentralen Link für alle weiteren Informationen, der dich aber auch in meine offizielle Facebook-Gruppe führt. Ich würde mich freuen, wenn wir uns hier kennenlernen. Bist du nun am Start? Na dann komm doch mit! In der letzten Episode sind wir mit dem Fotografen Mark Weiss, auch bekannt als WEISSGUY, in die Zeitmaschine gestiegen und in den 80ern gelandet. Hier hat Mark uns über seine Begegnung mit den Rockstars bei außergewöhnlichen Musikevents wie dem Festival 1983, Live Aid oder dem Moskau Love and Peace Festival berichtet. Diesmal sprechen wir über seine Fotoarbeiten mit Bon Jovi, Ozzy Osbourne, Guns N' Roses, Sebastian Bach, Kiss und auch Doro. Ihr findet die Bilder dazu in seinem Buch The Decade That Rocked, welches jetzt auch in Europa bei Amazon erhältlich ist. Den Link dazu gibt es in den Shownotes zur Episode. Dann wollte ich aber auch wissen, wer sein schwierigster Kunde war und wie sich sein Business nach den 80ern entwickelt hat. Also nochmal anschnallen und ab in die Rakete.
So let's dive into the book again. Of course, you made a lot of iconic pictures from artists, but I thought that the most iconic picture you did doesn't show an artist, but a girl's breast in a yellow wet T-shirt. Is it?
Oh,
Do you see it yourself? The slippery on wet cover?
Oh, this one? The original?
Yeah. So this is also done by you.
Yeah. This is, there was actually 5 different covers. It was first called Wanted, Dead or Alive, Wanted. And I had them dressed up like cowboys and they grew beards and I put them on a Wanted poster and we shot them in Vancouver in a in a dingy, dusty old, warehouse where it looked like a hideout. And that was the theme in the beginning. I spent a lot of time and effort and film and location scouting and everyone loved the photos, but then they decided that it was a little bit too, they wanted it to be a little more lively and they didn't want it to be so dark, I guess you could call it. So we scrapped that idea and then we came up with Slippery When Wet. I think the idea came from, it kind of came from a road sign, Doc seeing the road sign and then, we're all hanging out at the strip club and the girls would be descending from, the poles and they would go in these plastic booths, with water on it. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together and came up with Slippery When Wet. So then when we went back to New Jersey and the band was done recording, they had me do some scouting and we ended up doing the photo shoot with the cars and by John's apartment down by the beach. And then that day when we were doing the shoot with the band, we didn't know what it was going to be. We didn't know at that time it was just a photo shoot with the concept. We didn't know it was going to be a girl with big breasts with a T-shirt. We had them in there. So we wanted one girl to stand out. And literally we just went across the street and found this girl, Angela, and then ended up putting a T-shirt on her. Someone we found just 5 minutes before the shoot. Everyone else was there. Most of the other girls that were there that we got, like the guys' friends and girlfriends and, friends of friends, there was no one with really large breasts, So we needed to find someone and we did. Actually Tico and my assistant, Danny Sanchez, went over across the street and just came back with Angela.
What a lucky career.
Yeah. And then after we saw the photos, we were like, we see so Angela in the middle of the photo where your eyes would just go there we're like, let that be the cover, you know? So we just shot her on her by herself against the blue background. You know, I had a plexiglass in the front of it to resemble, you know, the strip thing, you know, whatever. And then we just, you know, had some fun, you know, photos of her breasts.
Rest is history.
Little spray bottle, little ice, you know, perk things up a little bit. And that was it. That was it. So we thought that was it until the PMRC hearing was kind of going on, which I was there previously with Dee Snider at Sister. And I was there, you know, Dee was fighting for the freedom of speech and not to get those stickers on it.
I recall.
So all that was going on, and Walmart and a lot of the, you know, the stores that would carry, you know, mainstream records, they didn't want it to get, you know, blacklisted, and not, the word was out that this cover, or it was already printed, was going to be going out, and then word got back to the record companies like, you gotta scrap this, you know. It doesn't matter how many copies I think they printed like, you know, 200 or 300,000 copies already.
Really?
And they just threw them in the garbage. I think it was released in Japan, and we had to come up with another idea like really quick, you know. So that's when John just called me up like the day before. It would have been if we didn't do it, that we didn't come up with an idea that day, then, you know, the record would have been on hold, and it had to go out on that day, you know, just the way the marketing was set up. So he just came in and he just, you know, he said, you know, he said, I'm coming over to the studio, get me a black plastic bag and, you know, get a spray gun with some water. I put some oil in it to make it like kind of drippy, and I sprayed it on, and he came in. As soon as he got up the elevator, he just wrote "slippery when wet," and he's like, that's it. And I said, do you want to see the Polaroids? He goes, no, just send it. That's the cover. Done. And that was it.
And how was the bill just on this?
Oh, you know, it's, you know, the thing is, it ends up that I didn't even bill him for any of those shoots, because, you know, I used to take so many photos of them, and I used to like get them into the magazines.
Yeah,
so,
okay, I understand. Yeah.
It went through so many different incarnations that I forgot to even bill him for the cover. I mean, they used the picture for other things, like, you know, for T-shirts that I would, you know, make money on here and there as but for the actual album cover, I don't think I ended up getting. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Let's talk about some of our favorite artists. You already mentioned Aussie, where you have a really close relation to, and how did you get in touch with Aussie and the camp? And is there any story you would like to share with us about him?
Well, the first time I met him was I had an assignment from Circus Magazine to do a shoot called Most Athletic. It was called a high school yearbook, and he was known to jump up and down a lot. So, you know, we gave him Most Athletic. And there was supposed to be a small black and white photo. So we did a shoot for that, and that consisted of, to my surprise, he came out with, I brought boxing gloves. He came out in a pink tutu. And when he came out with the pink tutu, I saw his boots in the corner, red boots. I said, how about we just put that on? It kind of like a play of all fairies wear boots. And he did it. He was a good sport. We did that. You know, we thought, all right, it's going to be a small black and white, not a big deal. And I did other photos too of him just, you know, looking cool, rock star stuff. And that was supposed to be the cover. But when I handed it in to the magazine, they ended up running the photo in color on the cover. And to everyone's surprise, you know, it wasn't supposed to be the Prince of Darkness in a pink tutu with boxing gloves on the cover. So it kind of didn't put me in a good light in the beginning with the Osbourne camp. But then we started getting a lot of good attention from it, and the record started doing good. And then we kind of, you know, it ended up being a good thing, and we ended up doing more kind of crazy shoots out, you know.
I saw the Easter Bunny picture you just posted a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's, you know, that was in 1984, I believe I shot that, or 1983 or 1984. And that was another little kind of accident. And he came to my studio. We were supposed to do a photo shoot for Faces magazine, and Aussie comes in and he goes, "What's that over there?" And I looked, and it was an Easter Bunny outfit and a trestle, with flowers. And I didn't even know what it was because I shared my studio with a commercial photographer. So it kind of caught me by surprise. And Sharon and Aussie walked in, and I quickly said, "What do you mean? What's that?" That's what you're gonna wear for the cover. He's like, "What?" And then he looked, he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, let's hop to it, And he's like, he looked at Sharon, and it's like, and she goes, "Have fun, boys," and she left. And then I actually got him in the costume. We had fun, but and then afterwards we did some other shots, and then
show a little bit. I'm sure you're prepared as some pictures of Aussie for us.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we got the photos that we used, but those photos of the Easter Bunny, I didn't put out. I didn't even show Sharon them until like 10, 15 years later, when I said, I just sent it to her on one Easter as a joke, and she posted it because I didn't want to post Aussie, the Prince of Darkness, into this bunny outfit, But then once Sharon posted it, Aussie posted it on his social media, I said, the bunny's out of the closet, So then I started posting it every year, and it was okay, of course,
That's funny. So you have got a prepared Aussie picture from your book to show us?
Oh, I will show you. Actually, I'll show you that. Actually, in this book, we have 3 gatefolds. And I'll show you how it works here. This is from a shoot.
Oh.
That was from the shoot. It was called Diary of a Mad Housewife. We kind of did a play on words for a magazine cover. And we kind of ironed Amy. And then this is the gatefold, how it opens up.
Ah, the bunny. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's great.
So
happy Easter.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. And
yeah,
then,
so the Aussie stories are great. Oh yeah.
This is when they were on the road with Motley Crue.
Ah, yeah.
Him and Vince. It's another one of our shoots.
Another star you've been pretty close, which was not easy to catch for interviews in Europe, but you got a better contact, was Axl Rose, or the Guns N' Roses guys, because they were quite problematic in the beginning for us. Even later on, it was not easier, but you met them really at the beginning.
Yeah, I was 1986. I actually just photographed Sebastian Bach when he was in a band called Madam X, and that was when Sebastian's hair was like really high, And then I went to California to do a photo for Hit Parader. They wanted me to shoot Guns N' Roses because this is before their album was even out, but there was a big buzz on them, and the record company set up a shoot. And at the time, they didn't really want to shoot with me because they had their own photographer. And the publicist, Bryn, insisted, I had a relationship with Bryn with Motley Crue when she was, over at Elektra, and she helped set up some photo shoots with Motley Crue. And she kind of put her foot down and said, it's really important. You really should shoot with other photographers. He can help you get into some magazines. And, she went to bat for me, and they agreed. It was a quick shoot. I went over to where they were recording and set up a background. And Axl, had his hair. That's when his hair was really spiked up, and he had pants on, and it said "Glam Sucks" on it. And then he really would never look at me, and he kind of, and on his pants, he had his hand on his pants, and he has it's like he was giving me the finger, to most of this photo shoot,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's in the magazine, in the book. And then I don't know, they liked the photo shoot, and that was his way of kind of not giving me the finger, but just just a contradiction to Glam Sucks, and here's this fuck everybody, I guess, it was a message, to show that he was
certain attitude at that time.
Yeah, and nobody knew who he was really, and so that ended up being, I believe, on the cover of the magazine, and then they got some good press out of it, and ball started rolling. And then they came to New York when they played at CBGB's, and they did the Ritz show. And Bryn, I guess the guys liked me, and they came to my studio, and I did a nice photo shoot. Then they told me to come over to CBGB's where they were doing an acoustic set and an autograph signing, and did some photos around CBGB's, which are some iconic photos that, them hanging out in front. And that's featured in the magazine. And then I think after that, they opened up for Motley Crue. And that's how I got the cover. When I went there shooting Motley Crue, they were opening up, and they were just hanging around. And I was friendly with Steven Adler, and I asked Steven if he would help me set up a photo shoot with the guys. Can you ask Axel because they were all in the dressing room? Can you ask Axel, tell him I'm here shooting Motley, and I want to just do I have my lights out here. Can we do a photo shoot? And he said, come back after the show. So I did. And right before Motley went on, I said, I got to go. Can we do it? And they said, yeah. And I went backstage, and Axel is in a towel, in his boots. And I says, oh, you want me to come back? He said, no, let's take the photo. And, and he gave me he gave me the finger on that one too. And that's the cover shot. So it kind of like, it goes full circle. And then I shot him again when they, in '88, when I was just in LA, and I reached out to Bryn. I said, are there guys around? Why don't we do just a really impromptu shoot at the Sunset Grill, just really easy, and do some photos. And they all agreed to do it, and everyone showed up except Axel. So I have individual photos of all the band on one day, and then Axel came the following day. So I got all 5 of them, but it's not a band photo in front. Yeah. But those again, Axel had the full beard, and that's opens the book up.
That's great. Can you show us a picture from this?
Oh yeah. Okay, this is the Florida. This is from the same shoot for the
young Axel. Axel.
He put his clothes on. He put his clothes on there. And then this is the CBGB's photos. And then this is a gatefold too.
Oh, great.
Slash.
Yeah.
And then this is from my studio in New York City. Then they came up.
Another guy you've already mentioned, I think he's also a close friend of yours, is Sebastian Bach from Skid Row.
Yeah. So I met Sebastian, and like I was saying before, I shot the guns. Madam X hired me in 1985 to shoot them with Brett, who was the singer. He had half white hair.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this band with Roxy.
Yes, and Don Arden was managing him. So they hired me to come out and shoot Madam X. That's how I met them, and that's featured in the book. That picture. And then a year later, I got a call from Roxy or Maxine, and she said, I have a band with a new singer. And I went, okay, that's cool. So, fly me out there. I gave them my fee. They had an investor. And, that's when I first saw Sebastian. I was like, that guy looks like a rock star. And then they were rehearsing. So then they started singing. I was like, oh my God, that guy sounds like a rock star. And then I met him, as soon as I met him, he brings me, he goes, hey, Mark, how's it going? You got to meet my hot girlfriend, and he, introduced me to his girlfriend. And I said, now that's a rock star, He was 17 years old, I think, And so that's where we first met. And then fast forward, fast forward the next year, I had a wedding. I got married in 1987, and I had my secretary invite, like I said, just invite all the bands that that I've shot and that I'm friends with. And I just kind of met them. I didn't, I knew them, but they weren't buddies, but I invited them and I didn't think they were going to come, So they came in their, they all drove in from Michigan, and Sebastian was at that time, I believe, like he was kind of not really in the band anymore, but he made sure he was going to be at my wedding, for whatever reason, fate had it. And they all went there. We all had a great time. And Zach was there. Zach just got into Aussie, who I helped get introduced. I introduced Zach to Aussie. And so he was at the wedding. And Kevin Dubrow was at the wedding. And at the end of the wedding, they all went up and they played Bang Your Head. And even me, I got up there too, as doing the back row. So that will be in the book as well, those pictures for the first time after, 1987.
That's why Sebastian has a kind of experience to be the best man, because I would say 10 years ago, I witnessed a wedding ceremony by the promoter of the Bang Your Head Festival, which is one of the biggest classic rock festivals in Europe. It's taking place usually, if there's not Corona, in the southern part of Germany. And Horst and Ines, his former girlfriend, now wife, they married with the best man, Dee Snider and Sebastian Bach.
Oh, wow.
So it was a great ceremony. It was in a tent next to the stage, and it was, of course, lots of press people there. It was a very nice thing for the media as well. Yeah.
Did he and Sebastian jam at all, or did they play together?
They played, yeah. He played there with his solo band, yeah, at that time. It was, I think it was 2006, 2007, somewhere around this, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was nice. That's where I met him too as well. So let's go to some even bigger guys, the bigger from space to Kiss, because you mentioned them already. You did pictures of them in the early days and then got arrested, but I'm sure you met them later on a couple of times, masked and unmasked.
Yeah, well, I started working for Faces magazine in 83 is when the magazine started, and we wanted to do a photo shoot. They just announced that they were taking their makeup off, and they just went on MTV to show themselves. And we took the opportunity, since my studio was, in New York and they were in New York, and we asked them to if they would do a photo shoot. And so I did the photo shoot with them without makeup for the first time. And then they asked me to do some pictures, them rehearsing, and I started becoming their photographer. They liked me. Their management hired me. They needed to get into the magazines without their makeup. It's like a whole new thing. And I was able to help them assist to get into the magazines. So, they liked me, they trusted me. And, it was kind of ironic that, like, when I was 17, like maybe 4 or 5 years later, or before that, I was getting arrested, and a block away from the Madison Square Garden was my studio where I'm shooting them, and I always loved Kiss.
And never full circle.
Yeah, definitely full circle. And I started working with them. And then when they came out with Animalized, I did pictures for the cover and inside the tour books. And one of the tour books that they did, they used 4 photographs of the band, and it was a very conceptual shoot. A lot of playmates, a lot of each guy had their own kind of scenario. Like Paul had the nurses, and he was in a nurses.
Okay.
I created a a hospital bedroom, or kind of say, with the girls like crawling around. Gene had this throne with all the girls, like I'm talking like he wanted 20 girls. So there's like 20 girls in the room. Eric was in the jail with 2 girls, and Bruce was on a motorcycle with a girl. So those are in the tour book. So whoever has that tour book definitely has it, but they're going to be appearing for the first time in the book.
Cool. You got them ready for us?
Yeah, sure. There we go. All right, here we go. There we go. Girls.
Yeah.
Girls. There's Paul. And Eric had actually 4 girls.
Yeah, and the boss.
Had a whole bunch.
When we talk about the girls, I mean not only the girls in the back, but also the girls in the front. We have one common friend, which is from Germany, actually, Doro. And I know you shot Doro also a couple of times, but you shot a very important cover of her career.
Right. That was it. Ended up being in Metal Hammer. It's right here. That was done. Yeah, she wanted to do something very like fantasy. So she loved wolves, and she liked the outdoors, and she liked smoky and
mystical a bit.
Yeah. So she told me what she liked. Yeah. She walked into my studio, and that's what it looked like. And she was like, she just couldn't believe it. So yeah, and she was great. She still is. I just saw her at the Monster Rock Cruise, and still has it. Always did. And we did a couple shoots after that as well.
Yeah, we've met a couple of times, because when she started with Warlock in Germany, I started the magazine. It was around the same time, early 80s. And of course, we met in the little clubs at that time. And later on, when she became bigger and of course played the biggest festivals like Wacken Festival in Germany, we met a couple of times. And she's still so nice and so sweet. And she's so dedicated to her fans, like almost no other artist I know.
No, it's true. Yeah. She never got married. She never had kids. She's a true rocker.
That's right. Yeah, and she's still successful in her way, and she does everything just to promote her music, but also she loves to be surrounded by her fans. That's what I really respect for her.
Yeah, no, those are her babies. Rock and roll.
She never gets tired, and that's. What was the most challenging rock star you worked with?
Oh.
Because up to now, it to me it sounded like you had a lot of fun, but I think that this is only the good side. I think there might have been some more challenging duties for you.
Well, there's really only been one, actually, which is featured in my book. Let me see if I can find it. I always forget, like, my memory is so bad, like, I should know what year these bands that I shot, at least know that. I mean, I've lived this book for 4 years, but I still gotta, like, I gotta go through it one day and just, well, I'll tell the story, and if maybe I find it, or you have to wait for the book to see it, but it was, I did a shoot for Danzig for the cover.
Yeah.
Not the cover, but the inner, like you pull it up open, and it's like got the two sides on it, kind of a gatefold, and because the cover was the illustration of the skull.
I recall that.
And so they just needed some new publicity photos and photos to be used in the packaging and whatnot. So they came to my studio, and they were, pretty much just kind of, I never met them before, and they were just kind of not that the friendliest. They were just quiet. I'm not going to say they're not friendly. They were just quiet. And then I just said, all right, let me just, no small talk. Let's just get right to work. And there they go. They were, I was kind of positioning them, okay, over here and there. And I brought Glenn a little further, because he's a little smaller. So I have the perspective. If I bring someone smaller, it will make him look on the same height as them instead of just putting them all in a row. So, I was working them out, and then I said, okay, just, everything looked good in the photo composition wise. And I said, okay, Glenn, lean to me a little bit, just lean, because, he was like this. And when anyone does that, this thing gets to be a little bit doubled or whatever. So I said, just, lean into me a little bit, lean in, that's what I always used to say, lean, like you can't hear me, like I'm pulling you with a fishing string. I said, like, just hooked you, like, come forward. I was trying every trick in the book, and they were just, all four of them would just stand there, and they were all had like these double chins pretty much, And so, I went to the first guy. I didn't even know their names, So I went to the first guy, and I kind of moved him around a little bit, because I used to do that with all these other bands, Bon Jovi, Aussie. I would like get in their face and kind of like joke around a little bit. Like sometimes I would tickle them a little, but I would actually move them when they didn't get it, like most of them got it, but some really didn't. They didn't understand like what I was, saying, or when I say lean forward, they would go like this, or, but I just needed them to do this. It was real simple, but some people just didn't get it. And those guys didn't get it. So when I started shuffling them around, the first guy, then the second guy, when I got to Glenn said, "Don't touch me." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so then I went to the next person, and, I didn't touch anyone. And I said, "All right, that's it." So I went back, took a few more photos, and they ended up using the photo, and they liked the photographs. But then I think like a month later, I said, I talked to the record company. I'm like, how's everyone like the photos? Everything good? He goes, yeah, but Glenn doesn't really, want to work with you anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I said, did you do anything to piss him off? I said, the only thing I did, and I told him the story, and he's like, oh, you shouldn't have touched him.
Besides all of the rock stars, is there anybody you would have liked to take a shooting with from the, let's say, from the celebrity world, like any politician, actor, sports guy? Is there anybody whom you have missed so far? Would you like to have taken pictures of?
Yeah, I'm not really, I guess just...
because you covered everybody.
Right, but I would have liked to done a photo shoot with Mick Jagger. I think that would be cool. Mick Jagger for sure. But no, that's pretty much it. Really. I mean, Jimi Hendrix when he was alive.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All those, Janis and Jimmy, and Jim Morrison.
Morrison, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I pretty much, shot everyone that I admire, I respect, and I've been fortunate enough to do what I do, and people seem to take to me and my camera, so I'm fortunate when it comes to that.
So what happened when all the 80s bands at the beginning of the 90s, when there was a different kind of music genre coming, or different ones, so there were many of coming? So what happened to you? Did you went on doing pictures for other genres, or what happened to you? Because have you been booked for the same bands and did the same bands, but with less popular albums, or did you move on to other genres?
Well, what happened was, like, I ended my book with 1990, and I was on the Cherry Pie video with Warren, and that album did great. So it's like, I didn't think anything was going to stop as it did. Nobody did. We just thought it was going to keep going and going and going. And then, of course, things changed, and I kind of kept going for a few years. Skid Row was still, popular, but still the magazines things were changing. And then Kiss came out, in 96. So that was a little bit of resurgence. And I feel like that kind of brought everything back again slowly, but not enough to, support myself or anything like that. And I always thought that with this body of work that I created in the 80s, that I'm pretty much set. I didn't think it was going to be held against me, and it's what it seemed like it was doing. I mean, I've shot, I shot Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, and for some Metal Hammer and some other magazines, but I didn't really connect with them. They didn't want to be photographed. They didn't want to have fun. They just wanted to play music and do it.
Different attitude and image at that time. Yeah,
which is fine, And then when God forbid, I should bring up that I did Slippery When Wet or Dokken or Cinderella, I knew not to say that to what I did, So I just took it. I took it like I was a new photographer pretty much. And then CMC Records had some classic rock. They had a classic rock label. So they had bands like Eddie Money and Leonard Skinner, Styx, a bunch of bands that I liked from the 70s, so now I was starting to work with them doing their album covers and even doing some home videos and regular videos. So that kept me going for a good chunk of years. And actually in the midst of all this, even in the 80s, I was working for Bravo magazine shooting pop stars, like even like back from Dagmar Dunlap. I used to work in Bravo. That was my first time I used to work for them in early 80s, you know, like early 83, 84. I shot Alec Baldwin and all these things that she set up. So I have a bunch more photographs and things that I'm keeping under the covers for now, because I want to brand myself, or I am a rock photographer, but I do have, after this is out and I put out other things, the stuff that I have, like I have Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, their first shoots, you know, Justin Timberlake at his home, and, you know, how I got them from Bravo. You know, they hooked me up with these pop stars, and I would go do home shoots. I would do shoots at, you know, at their homes, on the road, videos. And so that gave me a lot of access, because Bravo is a big magazine, and a lot of bands broke there first. So I started in the 90s, started doing a lot of stuff there, like, you know, Christina Aguilera, when Genie in the Bottle came out. I ended up doing the photos on the video shoot, and then becoming friendly with the artists. You know, Christina liked me and wanted to use me, so I started being her photographer. I ended up doing an album cover for her and tour book. I went to Hawaii with, you know, I did some traveling. Black Eyed Peas, I met through Bravo, just Kesha. And then we started doing all the hip hop stuff, like Usher, and I mean, you name it, you know, like I have all these, you know, for a good 10 years. And, you know, then, you know, I worked with Alex, and I worked with Rachel, and it just snowballed into, like, nothing really stopped, you know. And then when I would always shoot the bands that I loved, you know, but they would be playing clubs at that point, or they'd break up or come into other things. So I'd always stay in touch with them. And then they slowly became, you know, everyone started like getting themselves together and becoming, you know, rebranding themselves, you know, Poison, you know, Bon Jovi was always on the top. And I actually went on a 6-week South American tour with them. So I did their tour book, and so I went to Japan, you know. So I was kind of doing little bits and pieces, and I don't know. Next thing you know, it's 2020, you know.
The stadium tour would be the next big thing happening in the US, but I don't think it's gonna work. Would have been this a job for you, a stadium tour?
Yeah, well, I was just talking with some people that because I had an idea. I wanted to go on a tour, a book tour. So I thought of like all the bands this summer were playing, like, you know, Alice Cooper, David Coverdale, you know, Whitesnake, Ted Nugent, and then the stadium tour. Just everyone was out on tour, so I wanted to like go where they played the day before they had their show, and maybe do some radio, help promote their show. Also have a gallery, maybe do some you know, foundation, tying up with some soup kitchens or something, and get some, you know, cross promotion, and then shoot the show, you know, and then go to another tour and do that, you know, just kind of, you know, I was looking for corporate sponsorship to get like a, you know, a traveling vehicle and wrap it with whatever, my photos or their product, maybe Canon, you know, the camera that I use. So I was just starting to do this when all this stuff happened. I was in conversations to do this, and I was excited, and I was going to go with my girlfriend and just travel across country selling my books, you know, and talking, maybe doing some, you know, lecture things from some colleges. And, you know, I had a lot of plans, but the way I look at it is everything's going to happen a year later, you know? So.
But the music will not change in the book, and the memories will not change. This is something which goes on forever in the hearts of the people. That's a good thing. Yeah. So you can even, you can postpone it to next year. It's not old. It's like a good red wine.
It's going to give, like right now, I've been doing social media like crazy. I always wanted to. Really,
I'm following you. That's why I saw the trailer. You know, we have now Wednesday evening in Germany, and on Sunday morning I saw the trailer of the Decade That Rock, and I thought, this is an interesting guy for doing an interview. Then I contacted you, and a day later we already arranged this nice talk. This is crazy.
Well, I wanted to, like, I've never had the time for this book, because when I was doing this book like full on for 4 years, like I was in here I was putting off vacations, you know, because they kept telling me the deadline was like in 3 months, and then it ended up being like 4 years later, but I try to make it like perfect. And finally we got it done. And now I can like take a deep breath and work on social media, because I've had other people do it for me and I've never been really happy with it. And I've always wanted to be hands-on and connect with the fans. And now I'm really connecting with everyone, like anyone that writes, there's an email address at thedecadeThatRocked.com. Anyone that writes, have a question, whatever. Anytime someone says I just did a pre-order, I'll write back, thanks, and write a little something. I also have anyone that does a pre-order before June 2nd. I'm doing a promotion where they get the cover photo of the Guns N' Roses and I sign it, and I put the name on it and stuff.
That's cool.
And I sell for $200. I'm just saying, just pay shipping and handling, and I give them some postcards. And fans are posting it. So we just got it. It's great. Thanks for the extra postcards. And so it's just, I've been wanting to do this. Connect with the fans. And then I end my book with Eddie Trunk did the afterword. Actually, Rob Halford did the forward, and Eddie did the afterword. And right before the afterword is this fan. I used to get fan mail back in the '80s, and I used to just put it in a box, and I just organized it for the book. And, I thought I wanted to put a lot of it in, but there wasn't room, So there was one that stood out that says it all, it was perfect. It's like almost I wrote it, So it's in there as a full page next to Eddie's afterward. It's just from a fan talking about me. And, so I like fans, and I actually have a page on my The Decade That Rocked called Fanatic, and I have some of those I have the fan mail, and I used to always photograph the fans. So in every chapter, there's a photo of a fan from one of the bands of that chapter, and then there's a photo of me too with the band in that chapter. So it's kind of a consistency kind of a thing that I like, to do.
I really love to hear when people create their own brand, because I'm coming not only from the journalist side, but I also studied marketing, and I always loved branding. And when I saw initially the trailer, I saw the book, and then later followed you on your page, I really enjoy it that you make the decision to create not only your personal brand, Mark Weiss or WEISSGUY, but also the brand on your own, which could be even a band logo. Yeah, the Decade That Rocked. This is something which I really liked, and it looks so natural and so authentic. I really want to say thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I really appreciate this. Of course, in Corona times, everybody maybe got some more spare time around. But so when is your next shooting? Do you know it already?
No, how can anyone know? It's, I don't know. I mean, I set up a studio in my house. So there's a lot of local bands, and whoever has the balls to call me to see if I'll shoot their band, I'll do it. And I'll do it very reasonably. I say, come on over, because, they think that I'm unreachable because of the success I had. But I love shooting new bands. So, if they come in, I have a reasonable price, and they come into the house. I'm working in my office while they spend, hour or two getting dressed and getting ready. I'm here still working, hanging out, doing my thing. And then when they say they're all ready, I'll go out there for an hour and knock it off and give them something that they can work with and develop, just like I did with all the other bands that were just starting out. So, and then I have new friends, most of them end up being friends too. I like being around people.
That's right. Really like it. So when people now, they got a certain kind of appetite for your book, we can order it on Amazon in every country or around the world. So it's available already. It's a pre-order status I've seen. And
you can pre-order it on Amazon right now. And then I know there's certain countries that don't, that Amazon doesn't sell to, but on June 2nd, if you go to the publisher's website, Insight Editions, they'll ship anywhere in the world for like a very inexpensive flat fee, like $12. They'll send it anywhere in the world. So that's because I've been getting calls from different countries, not, texts and, comments. So, and then, eventually I might get an allotment and do some signings since I can't go on tour, and maybe I have a bundle package on the Decade That Rocked where you have a slipcase and a photo and some postcards, so you can upgrade from the book to a little bit more detail.
The shrine.
Yeah, t-shirts. I'm working on t-shirts now too, so hopefully that will get in there, and just having fun with it.
Great. I'm really looking forward. I ordered already my copy as well at Amazon in Germany here, and if you want to do it. Here's the link. Go on, click on the link and order the book. And Mark, thank you very, very much for taking the time. I wish you all the best to come out of these crazy times now and keeping your memory for the Decade That Rocked. So all the best to you, Mark. Hope.
Thank you.
Oh, the Bible. That's almost the Bible, the 80s Bible. So thank you very much and take care. Bye-bye, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
Wer jetzt so richtig Appetit auf diese Zeit bekommen hat und auch noch einen leeren Wunschzettel für Weihnachten hat, der sollte sich diesen Schinken, fast 3 Kilo schwer und fast 400 Seiten stark, wünschen oder sich einfach selbst beschenken. Bücher bilden ja bekanntlich weiter. Wenn dir diese Episode gefallen hat, folge mir doch gerne beim Podcast-Dealer deines Vertrauens, damit du auch die nächste Folge nicht verpasst. Du bekommst die ganze Staffel als kostenloses Abo unter anderem bei Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Deezer, Soundcloud, YouTube, dem Podcast-Portal von Google oder natürlich über meine Homepage theblogofrock.com. Höre dir dort auch die bereits veröffentlichten Stories an, denn jede Woche gibt es hier neues Futter. Und vor allem, erzähle es deinen Freunden und teile die frohe Kunde auf Social Media. Alles klar? Dann hören wir uns ja wieder beim nächsten Mal. Bis dahin, keep on rockin'!